Part 1. City by the Bay. Monsters cannot be announced. One cannot say, "Here are our monsters," without immediately turning the monsters into pets. Jacques Derrida. In the not-too-distant future, technology, outsourcing, and mass incarceration had vaporized the American middle class, thus reducing the once proud nation into a borderline third-world country. As the people's fury becomes louder and more violent, the government privatized the police into a military machine, while suspending the Constitution in a vain hope of keeping order, unleashing a new era of corruption and despotism. Chapter 1. The tab I took made my brain swirl with indescribable images, turning the cold Floridian night into a festival of forgotten dreams and hellish nightmares. My body tingled with joy as my eyes became alive with excitement. Every part of my body was taken over by a powerful, nameless being. God, I forgot how good acid was. As I let the drug take control of my body, I sat up to watch the hipsters dance to some music I could not understand. Was it hip-hop? Rock? Can it even be bluegrass? Whatever it was, the music was perfect, as the hipsters danced around the fire. As I relished the hipsters twirling their dregs around, a blonde 16-year-old girl came up to me. She smelled of herbs and her face tanned by years at the beach. Her toned body and rigorous breast were the symbol of female perfection. "Care to dance?" the blonde teenage girl asked. "Bet your ass, chica," I said as I got up. "By the way, how much do you weigh?" 110 pounds. Why do you ask?" I picked up her light body without even thinking. As I spun her goddess-like body around like a doll, I heard her laughing like a child. Despite being taken control of a 30-year-old man, the blonde girl seemed to enjoy what was happening to her. "Put me down," she playfully ordered. "No hablo inglés," I countered. "Pero si se como quejo una diosa." "I don't understand what you said," she smiled. "But if you put me down, I think I can put that tongue of yours to better use." Without a moment's hesitation, I kissed this blonde goddess. Then I took her deep into the forest and taught her how to scream in Spanish. The bastard sun rose high above the tree lines, unleashing a torrent of agony that plagued me every time I took acid. However, my morning was not total torment. At least I fucked a 16-year-old beauty queen. As I searched for my pants, I felt a pair of eyes staring at me. I did not need to look to know who it was. "For a dirty old man," the girl dully said, "you know your way around the barn." "You're a goddamn kid," I said as I put on my pants. "Busting your cherry was a walk in the park." "I was not a virgin when we had sex, old man. I had plenty of experience before you came along." "But not as good?" The bored girl gave me a smirk, knowing that she did enjoy the ride I gave her last night. "So where you're going?" she asked as she put on a blouse. "To the city by the bay," I said as I went behind the tree to urinate on it. "The one in the Cali?" "No, the one in Florida." The girl gave me a bewildered look. "You know we're going to Denver, right?" she asked. "No," I said sarcastically as I zipped up my pants. "I'm hitchhiking with a bunch of druggies to see the Mile High City. Of course I know. I just need to get there." "You have family?" "No," I said as the faces of my family drew a blank. "They live on the East Coast." "Friends?" I hesitated with my answer. Calling them friends would have made sense. We used to hang out, get high, and do stupid shit together. Yeah, they were friends. If you ignore the decade-long silent treatment. "Why are you going to the Denver?" I asked as the girl got fully dressed. "Starting a new life," she said as she stretched her body out. "My fucking parents wanted me to go to Catholic school. However, I'm old enough to make my own decisions, so they can go stick it where the sun don't shine." "Why are the spoiled brats the sexiest of them all?" "Ready to go?" I asked. "Yeah," the girl said. "By the way, my name is—" "Don't know, don't care," I said. "Unless the age of consent in Florida is 16, I think it is best not to know each other's names." "Why?" Are you scared of dropping the soap? No, I said as I took her by the hand and swirled her around. She giggled like the night before. I would just miss pussy too much to even hold on to life. I pressed my lips against hers. Then, without even thinking, I ripped off her clothes and fucked her silly once again. Her Spanish improved by tenfold. The van smelled of herbs and cigarettes as the hipsters drove northwards on I-75. They had the windows rolled down to ventilate the smell of cannabis out. The cold air sent goosebumps across my body as the van drove at 70 miles per hour. The stereo played music that sounded like a dying cat having an orgasm, making me wish I was high on acid once more. As I stared out into the Gulf of Mexico, I got a holographic text message on my coat sleeve. I opened the message and saw it came from Kenny. It read, "How far are you?" I checked the mile markers, and I saw I was close to Interstate 300. I told the hipsters that I would get off at Interstate 300, back when they picked me up in Stewart. They were nice enough to do that for me, despite carrying enough drugs to get life in prison. Maybe 2, depending on the governor. "Too bad you're leaving us, old man," the blonde girl said as she played with my ear with her finger. "It would be more interesting if you came to the pot capital of the world with us." "Can't," I said as I texted Kenny. "Got a job to do where I'm going." "Don't tell me it's another woman," the girl moaned. "Sadly, yes," I said as the past tore through me like a newly sharpened blade, unleashing a deep dosage of anxiety to fill an Olympic-sized swimming pool. "Dumper," the girl whispered. "Come with us to Denver, and I will make you the happiest man in the world." "It's a funeral," I said as I pushed her finger away from my ear. "The woman died 3 weeks ago, and I am paying my respects." The girl gave me a guilty look, as if she was a child who broke a plate. To be frank, the guilt on her face revealed how emotionally inexperienced she was. Before she could apologize, I saw some red and blue lights coming from behind us. "Oh, fuck!" the driver gasped. "It's the pigs!" "Oh, shit!" the girl panicked. "Oh, shit, oh, shit, oh, shit!" "We've got to get rid of the stash," the passenger said. "Where?" the driver yelled. "We're on a fucking highway." As everyone panicked and argued, I reached into my backpack and took out a blood-drenched stone. Closing my eyes, I felt a surge of malicious energy filling my body, so much that it had enough force to kill me right on the spot. Yet I used my breaths to keep myself sane, while repeating a mantra to tame the horrid vigor. As I regained the control of the energy-growing demonic force, I gave it an image of the police car. Once the target was clear to it, I unleashed the wild fiend onto the officer. The police car swerved chaotically across the highway, as if he was under the influence. Within a matter of seconds, there was a pileup that reached towards the sky. I opened my eyes to see the driver having a terrified look on his face, while everyone else in the van became pale with terror, as if death gave them a glance and walked away. I checked the signs to see how far I was from the exit. To my luck, I was at least a mile away. The hipsters were kind enough to drop me off. However, they did not say anything, for they threw me out and drove like hell. Since cops have live camera feeds, it would only be a matter of time before they would be pulled over. For what reason, I don't know. Maybe it was the drugs they harbor. Maybe they went over the speed limit. Hell, maybe they got an expired tag. Either way, I will have to distance myself from them. For if there was one thing cops like to do, was to lock people up, even with the lack of evidence. As I texted Kenny my location, I entered a nearby gas station. I picked up just the basic STD testing kit, condoms, iced coffee, and a map of the city. I paid with cash and took my stuff to the bathroom. As I tolerated the sink of the men's room, I took a blood sample with a clean syringe and injected it into the STD box. I waited a couple of minutes for the results. When the data appeared on my arm coat, I saw I was negative all across the board. Thank God for modern medical technology, I thought as I threw the kit into the trash. I didn't know who or how many men who have been in that girl. However, fucking anyone without a condom in this day and age was as close to suicide. Still, it was nice to plow a tight cunt for once in my life. especially a blonde 16-year-old beauty queen. When I came out of the bathroom, I saw a red 4x4 truck coming towards me. It stopped right in front of me, and a man in a funeral outfit came out to greet me. "Hey, Kenny," I said. "Hey," Kenny said in a depressed voice. "How's the magic trade?" "Good," I said as I smelled pot off of him. "Have you been smoking?" "Don't start, man." "Keys," I ordered. "Come on, it's been a bad day." "It's going to be worse if the police catch you under the influence. Keys, now." Kenny reluctantly handed me the truck keys. "Everyone doing okay?" I asked as we hopped into the truck. "No," Kenny moaned as I started the truck. "Esther lost a godmother. Ernie lost a wife. The rest of us lost an irreplaceable friend. So yeah, no one is doing okay." "Shit. I'm sorry." "Don't apologize. You're not the one who killed her." "Do you have any ideas?" "If I did, I wouldn't call you here in the first place." Point taken. We drove in silence as Kenny turned on some post-rock on the radio, giving us a sense of peace as we drove on pothole-covered roads, knowing full well what kind of suffering that was coming for us. The sun was setting over the run-down suburbs of the city. It was covered in litter, potholes, and broken windows. The trees' roots were breaking through the sidewalk, and the grass were as tall as a young child. God, this place went to hell. I parked the truck in front of what looked to be a worn-out rancher. It was kept clean, but the grass was growing without order. However, at least the windows were not broken in like the rest of the neighborhood. "Did the funeral just pass?" I asked as I exited the truck. "Yeah," Kenny said as he stumbled out. "Everyone but the 6 of us have already left my house." "Shit," I cursed. "What? I thought I did what you told me to do." "You did. I'm just not ready to deal with them." "Too late now. You agreed to come here and you agreed to help us. Don't you dare back out now." "I'm not," I said as I threw him the keys. By some miracle, he caught them. "I'm just trying to have the balls to deal with these people." "These people are your friends," Kenny glared. "Just because you fucked up doesn't mean they don't care about you." "Yeah," I said as I felt a knot in my stomach. "I'm just being paranoid." Kenny opened the door to his house. When I entered his home, I felt a deep crater formed within my upper stomach, as if I was violating a holy place that no mortal should ever think of doing. When I entered the dining room, I saw there were 4 people at the table. One was a bisexual girl, with her obvious lesbian girlfriend, a flamer. Finally, there was a man, who was straight, at the far end of the table. Everyone gave me a hateful glare the moment they saw me, as if I'd pissed on a stillborn grave. There was 100% chance that they still remembered my sins. Despite being ancient history, they still held a grudge against me. This is going to be a lovely reunion. "What is he doing here?" the bisexual girl named Jenny demanded. "Yeah," Jenny's girlfriend named Rhonda said. "Last time I checked, he's a psychotic devil worshipper." I'll ignore that, I thought, as I breathed in deeply. You fucking dykes. "So this is the wizard who's going to find my wife's killer?" the straight man named Ernie asked. "He's a fucking bum." "Ernie has a point," the gay guy named Johnny said. "He's too unstable to be trusted. He will get a mental breakdown just looking at Yvette's corpse and go back to the train yard. Hell, he's most likely a con artist." That's it, I thought. You're first, faggot. Pulling on my left coat sleeve was an array of tattoos. Each one had a purpose that could save lives or break them. When I found the sigil I was looking for, an overwhelming wave of information came to me. It did not come in the form of words, but auras in the form of images. Everyone's aura was mixed with rage, guilt, and sadness. With their emotions running amok, they were easy to read, like a hunter with his prey. 1643, I said. Johnny gave me a horrified look, while everyone had a confused look as if I was speaking gibberish. "That's the PIN code to Johnny's bank account," I said as I took a seat. "His Facebook account password is, 'I will marry Matthew McConaughey.' Kind of weird that you still have a crush on an old movie star." You hacked into my account, Johnny hissed. Jesus, you're supposed to be a wizard. All you are is You masturbate to sucking your uncle's cock, I said bluntly. That's pretty sick since he's family. Johnny's face turned red with anger, his eyes burning with chaotic rage. However, it makes sense since he was your first. Not to mention you probably enjoyed it since he... Johnny leaped out of his chair and jumped on me. He got a couple of shots on me before I forced him off and got on top of him. Before anyone knew what happened next, I got Johnny in a chokehold. For the next few seconds, bloodlust took control. All my rage, all my anxiety, and hate was put into strangling this fairy. With all the shit I've had to put up with for the last decade, I needed to take my demons out on someone, even if he was a former friend. Just as soon as it started, it ended with Kenny forcing me off of him. That's enough, Kenny bellowed. I will not tolerate this kind of bullshit. It's Yvette's funeral, and I will not tarnish her memory by senseless violence. We're here for her, not some mindless grudges. Kenny turned his attention towards me with those furious eyes of his. You proved your point, Kenny growled. Now stop acting like an asshole and help us with finding Yvette's killer. Sure, I said as I wiped the blood with my coat sleeve. Let's get started.